Good week of preparation, short week, as we all know, but fortunately we have some familiarity with this opponent, so feel good about that, like where our team's at right now, and get another good day of practice, and look forward to carrying it into Saturday night. So I'll go ahead and open up from there.
Do you anticipate having Rome or Luther?
Find out today.
I'll ask you a real question. Dennis Allen was talking yesterday about just the skill that's required of taking, when he has injured players going in and out. He said it's like making a meal out of whatever's in the fridge. What skills are required to look at your healthy guys and say this is the best place to put them?
Well, that's why it's really important throughout the year that we're continuing to evaluate our roster. It doesn't matter where you stand and what your role is. You're always being evaluated, and I think our coaches have done a really good job of coaching the guys that may not be playing on game day, and giving them feedback throughout the process of practice and afterwards, just so that they can continue to improve. But we have a really good feel for what our skill sets are with the team, and so if we feel like one guy's going to go down, another guy's going to step up, we can put him in a spot where he can have success. So yeah, that's the mode of being a coach in the NFL these days. When you have a long season like this, guys are going to come up, come down, IR, off IR, and you're looking to put it all together, and the expectation is still find a way to win.
And connected with that, more specifically with your wide receiver core, what's your assessment of the depth that you have there to go into Saturday in case you are missing those guys?
Yeah, I've been really pleased with that room. I think we got some young guys in there that we were really impressed with throughout training camp. That ended up being on the practice squad, and if called upon, I think they've done a great job soaking the offense in over the course of the season so far and being involved. Coach L has done a great job with them, just keeping them engaged and walking through. So they're in a great spot, and I feel that way about all the guys that are either on the practice squad or have been primarily special teams players up to this point.
What are you this familiar with an opponent in the division? What are some of the tipping points that it comes down to, I guess, to find a way to win the game?
Can you expand on that?
Essentially, right, like they know everything that you want to do, you know everything that they want to do, but it comes down to these few things that end up getting you to win at the end of the game.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's any different than any other week. And we go in and we come up with a game plan, and we're looking to execute that at a high level. I do believe when you get towards the end of the season and the games could be a little bit bigger, or you get the brighter stage, night games, whatever, and you have more eyes on you. It's younger players. They can get, I don't want to say deer in headlights, but the big picture of it all can get to them a little bit. And all we talk about as coaches is just focus on the little things, the details. Still about blocking and tackling and catching and pursuing. All the boring stuff to the casual observer is everything that us coaches we preach and we look for on game day.
What have you appreciated most about Colston's development from the start of the season and where he's at right now?
Yeah, it was a unique situation with him coming off the injury, and so it's a credit to him to get not only healthy again, but at a spot to where he looks very strong. You come from a place like Michigan, you're already advanced as a schematic guy. He's done a lot of things on tape over his college career that you knew were going to translate, and yet he's learning so fast, just the technique aspect of it. I think Jim Dre's done a phenomenal job getting him up to speed. The willingness to block that he showed at Michigan has really translated to this league. He's going to continue to learn and grow, but he plays with really good pad level for a guy that's not a prototypical wide tight end that has a little bit more size to him. He still finds a way to play with low pad level and come off the ball and strike, which I really appreciate. I think that's hard to find for a rookie tight end, much less a guy that's been kind of tabbed a route runner throughout his college career. So I view him as a complete player here at this point, and he takes a lot of pride in all facets of what he's being asked to do. And so because of that, there's really a ton that we put on his plate, from the run game to protections to route running, and I'm looking forward to continuing to grow with him over this year and the future.
How close is Tremaine, and what was his return bring back to your defense?
Yeah, and hopefully he's close. We'll see what it looks like again today. Guys, we have 2 practices this week, and we had a lot of guys that we were unsure about. So both these days of practice are really critical for us to make some of these decisions on who's going to be available. Um, but if we can get Tremaine back, I mean, I think it's a huge bonus. He was playing tremendous football before the injury. He is a huge asset in coverage just because of how long he is. It's hard to get the ball around him when we're playing zones, and I think he's really good in our match and mans where he can match up on tight ends and running backs out of the backfield and do a really good job there. Josh Jacobs is a heck of a pass catcher. He probably doesn't get enough credit for that part of his game, and so that's something that we need to do a good job taking care of. And so Tremaine potentially could really help us in that regard.
Do you remember when Dennis came up with the idea to maybe move his spots at linebacker? Just kind of what those conversations were like about you might get more out of Tremaine playing weak side.
Well, the initial thought in the springtime was for them to learn the defense. I'm talking about all the linebackers, but you start with Tremaine and TJ both, was to mix them between Mike and Will, and that was for them to just gain a greater understanding of what we're trying to accomplish. That was challenging for them. I think you could ask both those guys, and they might not have really appreciated it at the time because it slows them down as players when you're doing double duty. But I think that approach was the right thing to do. I think we've done that with a number of players on this team where it's more drink out of a fire hose as we're trying to learn schematically what we're capable of doing. And so, you know, there was a comfort level, I think, with Tremaine being at Mike. That's just where he had been his entire career. And yet we said in the springtime, his best spot might be at that will linebacker position. And I think that's kind of come to light for us as we've gone through the season. It's just um, I can't put my finger on what exactly triggers that, but he's taken a liking to it, and he's playing really fast, really decisive. He's playing physical football where he was before the injury, and hopefully we can continue to get that when we get him back.
And earlier in the season, when you talked about that you guys are gonna play your best football in December, what were some of the things, aside from maybe just time on task, that kind of gave you that faith that this would eventually get to?
Yeah, well, I mean, we had. I think anytime you're first year of a program, you're hopeful that that's going to be the case as guys get more comfortable in terms of what you're coaching and what you're expecting. And so that's certainly been the case with our veteran players, but we have a number of young players that early on it's a lot, and at this point, I think that they're able to go out and play fast. We trust them as a coaching staff. They've earned that. You can look all across our rookie class, and there's a number of high-level contributors right now, more so on the offensive side of the ball. But I think that comes with a lot of time and effort. But when you see you see them in training camp and you see where we came from early on in camp to the end of camp, I mean, I think it's not that bold of a statement to say that we're going to be playing some pretty good football here at the end of the year.
You talked about how good the rookies have been. You as a rookie head coach this year, how would you assess the job that you've done preparing this team week in and week out?
Yeah, I don't even think
Wins is tough.
I don't think about that stuff right now. Our sole focus this week is beating the next opponent. All right, we got a good team coming in town. There's a lot at stake. When you're playing meaningful games in December, that's all you could ever hope for, and we're really looking forward to this opportunity.
Just to build on that, you acknowledge that really before 2022, you've been a part of a lot of losing seasons more than winning seasons. To play meaningful December football, how do you describe what that's like and for your players and just to set the stage for what this is?
Well, I think when you look at our roster, we have a number of really talented players that have not been a part of this. You certainly can look at DJ and Cole, guys that have been here, but like I just talked with Andrew Billings about it, and this is the most wins he's ever been a part of. These guys have been around for a long time, and so when that happens, and you're someone that hasn't experienced it a whole lot, you're just grateful. You're grateful for it, and you don't want it to. You want to take advantage of the opportunity. You just don't know when it's going to happen again, and that's the nature of the NFL. The parity is so strong that when you have a good season, you win some of these one-score games like we've been able to, and we put ourselves in a good spot. We want to make sure we capitalize on it as a team.
Thank you.
Jason just mentioned that because the expectations weren't that you guys would be in first place at this moment, there isn't a lot of pressure. Are you sensing that, and is that somewhat of an advantage heading into these massive games at the end of the season?
Yeah, I don't. I think part of our intent as coaches early on in this thing was to build a very poised unit that could handle pressure. And so that's our coaching style. That's why we're very demanding out of our guys. I think they have felt that from the springtime all the way up until now. Both sides of all three phases, to be honest with you. And so because of that, I like to think that we thrive in high leverage and high pressure situations.
Thank you, Ben.